Hey, what's up, Chuckleheads? It's your buddy Choppadong, and I'm going to bring you the Week 11 NFL Rundown for quarterbacks and possibly running backs if we can get to it today. This video is going to be free because I haven't done a lot of free videos for a while, but for those of you that are VIPs, you know what you're going to get. You're going to get the wide receivers, the tight ends, the defenses, the STDs as we call them, and you're going to end up getting the correlation plays, the chalk check, maybe some domination station setup videos. Sometimes these things go on and on and on, and they've turned into more of a daily vlog. So for those of you that are not VIPs, you might want to head down to the comments section, click the like and subscribe button while you're down there. Also, visit dfsarmy.com, use the coupon code CHOP, C-H-O-P, and get that 20% off discount each and every month for you if you stay a member, because you don't need to pay full price. We don't make you pay full price, so don't. Follow me out on Twitter at Choppadong, interact with me out there, all the good stuff that you hear me say in all of my videos, but I haven't done any for a long time for free, and I need to get back to that because I really appreciate the feedback that you guys offer me out here as well. So let's dive in and talk NFL Week 11 Research Station at dfsarmy.com. My favorite tool is the Research Station. Under the NFL tab, Research Day, FanDuel, DraftKings, whichever one you want to use. I use just the statistics, so that other than pricing, this doesn't change, so it doesn't matter which one you use. The first thing that I do is I kick off those evening games so that I get down to the main slate, and that's just by holding down the control key when I go button click off those little blue boxes. And this week we've got a glitch again. You're not going to get, see how that's flashing? You're not going to get to sort these things unless you come all the way down here to the lower right hand corner and click that little Windows box that pops this bad boy out. Once it pops this bad boy out and it loads up again, now we're going to have to do the same thing, I guess. Click those blue boxes off in the quarterbacks tab. But we'll be ready to rock and roll. And we'll start looking at statistics from the quarterback. What we're looking at is, if you've seen me mention it, let me find it here really, really quick. Hopefully we don't take too much time. Yep, that's a cluttered desktop, ain't it? Red circle, yellow circle, blue circle plays. What's that mean? We're going to use the box checking method. Home, favored, implied to score a lot of points, maybe an efficient quarterback, maybe a good matchup with fantasy points allowed by the defense, etc. And those that check the most boxes, those that have the fewest warts, those of the strongest, most safe plays go in that red circle. Bullseye. Sometimes we'll find a player with a couple of warts here or there. He'll be, maybe Aaron Jones last week, Mike Davis last week, those types of players that have, they check a lot of the boxes, but they've got a couple of little chinks in the armor. They're kind of yellow circle plays. I prefer my yellow circle plays to have some upside, which, maybe those guys didn't last week, whatever. And they're kind of like slightly lesser versions of the safest of the safe. They're still pretty safe, but they carry a little bit more risk this week than the red circle plays. And then we got everybody, all the crap load of everybody else. That's your, I'm going to be contrarian this week. I'm going to stack the Raiders, or I think the Jets can win, or whatever. Those are all blue circle. It's his birthday today. Blue circle play, right? Throw them out there, GPP only. And what we're building is we're building cash-safe lineups with some correlation for these smaller leagues and smaller GPPs. But for the bigger GPPs, you might take out some of those yellow circle plays and swap in a couple of blue circle plays. That might put you over the freaky-deaky top of the great big tournaments. If that makes sense to you, let's dive on in and let's talk quarterbacks and possibly running backs. What I'm looking for at home, favored, implied to score a lot of points. I scroll over here to the Vegas lines, and the first thing that I do is I want to see home and favored. So I sort by ascending order because that brings all the big negative numbers to the top. Those are your favorites. And we see names like Ben Roethlisberger, Justin Herbert, Kirk Cousins, Lamar Jackson. These guys are all in good spots according to Las Vegas. Maybe not according to Daily Fantasy Sports, right? Changes. It's different. We can also look for anything over about 24 points here. So if I take this, number filter me greater than, say, 23 points. Booyah. Cut that crap out. These are more or less the players that I'm looking at. They're favored. They're implied to score a good number of points. And I want to see the yellow boxes for the guys that are at home. So Justin Herbert, good spot this week. Kirk Cousins, maybe. Lamar Jackson, good spot this week, but he hadn't been much this year. Jameis Winston for dirt-ass cheap. Could do worse. Baker Mayfield, Phillip Rivers. I mean, this is a crap show, right? Of the yuck of the yuck. But a lot of that is because Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson are on Thursday night. And I don't know who's on Monday night, but it ain't going to be Nick Foles and freaking Kirk Cousins again. So we've got some of those teams. Maybe some people are on bye week. I think that the Buffalo Bills are on bye this week. So there goes Josh Allen. So we don't have a lot to choose from. This, to me, when we don't have those guys that are really, really safe to even choose from, we're getting a little bit risky this week. These guys, they ain't not really willing to bet the ranch on some of these guys having good performances. I'm kind of hoping that they hit the floors, but I don't know who's going to hit their ceilings either. So with that wider range of outcome in a more inconsistent player type, we're probably looking to take on a little bit more risk this week. We might tone the cash down a smidge, and instead of going like 80% of our budget in cash games and 20% in GPPs, we might go more 60-40. We might even go 50-50. Because if these ranges of outcomes are going to look like this, where our safest positions, our highest floor positions like quarterbacks and running backs, wind up kind of looking almost like tournament plays, and that's the best that we have to offer from a safety standpoint, might as well just play freaking tournaments. This might be a week where we're just taking on a lot of risk no matter where the hell we go. Even our safest plays of the week don't land in that red circle. Instead, they end up being more tournament, more risky plays. Ben Roethlisberger, don't tell me you trust that guy, even on the road or at home or whatever. He had a good week last week, but what was the first one that compared to all the other quarterbacks? It's not like the old, Ben to AB stack that at home you just knew the splits were great and you could just load him up. That's not the case anymore. Justin Herbert's probably the safest one on this list, believe it or not. Right? So I'll be interested to see where my coaches go in our cheat sheets this week at DFSArmy.com, because I want to see how much they like Herbert, how much they may kind of talk about Jameis Winston, and then where else they may go, because I don't see a lot. I really don't. Now, if I went and took this filter off and cut it back down to where some of the lower point guys run there, I might see some names that I end up liking. Burrow throws a lot, but I don't think anyone's playing him. Deshaun Watson's down there, Aaron Rodgers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan on the road in the Superdome, probably not terrible, but because he's not favored, he's not implied to score a lot of points. See, 23 points, he hit the cutoff right on the nose. If Andy Dalton's back, I don't trust any of that. What of this excites you? Really not. What of this makes you feel safe? Like you can wrap up in your little snuggie and sit by the fire and just know it's all going to be okay. None of it. Like I said, maybe Justin Herbert's about the best we got. That's fine. If that's the case, we can scroll over here. We can look at projections and things. These are fun to play props with, guys. If you guys sports bet and you do player props and you see Roethlisberger projected at 305 and you see a player prop on him at 232, bet the over. Just bet the over. My tip to you. The stats so far. Here's the one that I like. Quarterback allowed. Okay, so Roethlisberger and Herbert are in good matchups, right? They're facing teams that allow a lot of points to quarterbacks. Jameis Winston's in a great spot. So these are going to be guys. This is a smaller weighted category, but it's definitely a category that you want to look at. Maybe passing attempts per game, 33, 35, 40. 38, whatever. These guys are these are the guys that are kind of slinging the ball. So they should be throwing a lot. If they have a hot day and they hit their targets, if they can throw the football in the trash can, might have a good day. But again, we're starting to talk about maybes. Maybes are for tournaments. For cash games, we gots to know. You know what I'm saying? We got to know, and it still fails on us, but we gots to know. Or else it isn't worth taking the risk to just win a 50-50 or something like that. So I'm still on Herbert, maybe a Jameis because he's cheap. I don't think Jameis is great. I mean, I'm not going to pay up over Herbert 8,500 to 9,000 for Aaron Rodgers when Rodgers is in a worse spot. I'll just stick with Herbert. I may go down to a Ben Roethlisberger, but man, that feels like it's really, really risky. So these are the kinds of decisions that we're going to be hashed with throughout the week. And that's what we talk about at DFS Army all the time. You get in there and you get to talking with the coaches back and forth, right? And you interact and you start discussing plays, and they've got answers and you've got answers, and everybody's looking up stats and they find stuff, and then you end up landed on the same damn plays. Okay? Let's kick over to running backs before we run out of time here, because we got 5 minutes left or so. Running backs aren't hard either. Same basic thing. Home, favored, getting a lot of work, implied to score points, red zone work, receptions, all that type of stuff, right? Like Rex Burkhead, top of the list. Haha, very, very funny. Not the top of the list, I fooled you. So 10-point favorites here are the Pittsburgh Steelers once again, right? But we're not playing Benny Snell and McFarland. I don't know how much you trust James Conner, but he's implied to score a lot of points, and he's favored. It should be a positive game script for him. There's Balazs Kelly again. I don't know if you're trusting that committee. Dalvin Cook, you definitely trust. 27 points implied means 3-4 touchdowns. He might have one or two of those. And then, of course, 7-point favorite, favoring the game script of running the ball late in a game, right? So there you are. And against Dallas, does Dallas give up points to the running back? Dallas should give up points there. Not so much. They're kind of middling. They're more of a weak secondary. So maybe Kirk Cousins, throws the ball at Dalvin Cook, or maybe he just busts it up to Adam Thielen again. Whatever the case may be, there's two automatic ways to go. Game script, Dalvin Cook, heavy workload, a lot of reliability, can break any matchup. Or Kirk Cousins, Adam Thielen types, where you sit back and go, well, maybe they'll go to the air this week. So again, maybe. Questions are for tournaments. What we know is for cash games. And what we know is Dalvin Cook gets the lion's share of the touches. The only thing detracting from him is a middling matchup out of Dallas. And we come down here a little bit more, and we can see Dalvin Cook with a lot of red zone numbers, right? A lot of good red zone numbers inside the 5 carries, inside the 10 carries, right? That's what we're looking for. And then we come back over here to the statistics this week, and we cut out the rushing attempts. We want someone up around that 18 touch mark. That's touches is rushing attempts plus receptions or targets, whatever you want to look at. So let's cut these down to about, 14 and a half or so, and let's see where that gets us. Bang, it just wiped out a lot of the list, right? These are your high volume running backs. It cuts through the committees. This is not the timeshare stuff. I'm surprised Aaron Jones made the list, but this is what you're getting. This is how many touches you're getting per game out of these guys. You want to stick to the guys at the top, Dalvin Cooks, McCaffrey if he played, Mixon if he played, etc. Down here, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry types, they get a lot of the workload. You want them at home. You want them favored. You want them implied to score a lot of points. You want them seeing some receiving work, like a Nick Chubb ain't getting no passes, right? That detracts from him. It just does. Because you don't know where those points are going to come from with Nick Chubb or Kareem Hunt right now. So being that that's a safety concern, it affects his floor. If he has a bad game and is down around his floor, it might be 6 points as opposed to 12 points. That can make the difference in cash games. In tournaments, you don't give a shit. In tournaments, you're hoping Nick Chubb, you take the flyer on Nick Chubb over Kareem Hunt. You hope he scores twice and runs for 120 yards. You just hope he doesn't run out of bounds by the goal line this time, right? That's what you're hoping for in tournaments. But in cash games, you need to know the floor. So your red circle plays, gosh, James Conner might be one. Dalvin Cook is probably definitely one. This is a committee. These guys aren't playing. That brings Mike Davis back into the play. Aaron Jones, I don't necessarily trust. Kenyon Drake, Chase Edmonds, interesting. Todd Gurley, he's not at home. Josh Jacobs, not at home. It's muddy waters, man. Derrick Henry is expensive as hell. It's muddy, muddy waters. But I'm going to go back to the well with Dalvin Cook, I'm sure. And then I'm going to, again, lean on my coaches and their cheat sheets to start putting me on some of the other plays if I can't find any myself, right? That's just the way you're going to end up playing this thing. And if you need that type of advice, of course, you come into DFSArmy.com. You use the coupon code CHOP again for a 20% off discount. While you're down there, you follow me on Twitter, you like and you subscribe to the YouTube channel. When I put these videos out, you get notified to your phone. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. But what I'm going to teach you is the fundamentals of building better DFS lineups. And what my other coaches are I'm going to tell you when to lean on yourself and when to lean on your coaches. And I'm going to tell you this is a week where we might be leaning a lot on the coaches. We're going to alter our play by taking off of the 80-20 rule for cash games and come down more 50-50, 60-40, something like that. We're going to play more tournaments than we usually do this week, because there's just too many question marks. There's not any great running backs that are obvious. There's not any great quarterbacks that are obvious. So our lineup, the highest floor positions of our lineups are very, very limited. Where do we go from there? That's why you need to be a VIP. You need to follow these videos. You need to jump in, and you need to take on some of that coaching. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching the video. Pass me around social media, and I will talk to my VIPs later. Peace.